This is day 3 after my surgery. I got my surgery on Monday, March 24th, 2025. Today is Thursday, the 27th, 26th, 27th. I don't know. No, 27th. Um, I swear this week has been a little tough for me. If y'all don't know what surgery I'm talking about sleeve gastrectomy surgery. Yes, I've completed bariatric surgery. Now, I feel like an array of things. To be completely honest, I wanted the surgery because I began to gain weight again after losing like a lot of weight. So when I got pregnant with my daughter, I was in a completely different setting in 2021. Like I was home, I was in my house. I had more access to food. Like I didn't have to like pinch and stuff like I did with my son. When I was pregnant with my son in 2014, my mom and I, we was living in the shelter, and the shelter that we was living in, we couldn't cook. For a large portion of my pregnancy, I lived in a shelter that I couldn't cook in. So, and then being unemployed and stuff like that, I couldn't eat out all the time. So, getting food was very scarce. Like my mother would go out every day, and she would make sure that she brought back food and stuff like that for me. But I would go all day without eating. So I would pretty much like run off of liquids during my first pregnancy up until like nighttime. So it was a little bit tougher, but I'm in a way better space than I was in both periods of my life. But when I was pregnant with my daughter, I was with my mother still. I left, but then I came back because I had went to the shelter with me and my son, and it wasn't it. It was a clean shelter, but it was like a high level of roaches, and I couldn't deal with that. Every day I found myself pulling in me and my son's bunk bed because we lived in, it was a studio room because it was just me and my son, and I was pregnant at the time, so I didn't have multiple rooms in the shelter. And it was pretty okay, but like I said, it was just the fucking roaches that I couldn't get over, and it came from the lady that lived down the hall from us. Even the security guards would tell us like it's dumb. So it's them. Excuse me. I'm trying to speak properly. Um. So I left and I went back to my mom's house, and I was there for my pregnancy. And I mean, it was like just a better situation for me. Um. My husband, he was around because my first child's father is not my husband. And he was never around. Like him, his family, none of that. Like I went through that pregnancy, it was just me and my mom. And the little bit of family that I had on my side that supported me. Um, but yeah, when it came to my second child, my daughter, my husband, he moved in with me and my mom, like just to make sure that I didn't need for anything, that I was always good. So anytime I'm like, I'm hungry, he went and he got me whatever, like, so. But then, like, me and my mom, we was in our apartment at that time, so, like, she would cook as well. But a lot of times, pregnancy cravings, like, you want what you want when you want it. So, all weird times at night, I'm eating food. But I said all that to say, basically, I gained a bunch of weight. When I gave birth to my son, my starting weight was 298 pounds. I would never go past 298 pounds in my whole life. Like, I would always balance, like, that weight. Like, I maintained that weight for years. Um, I got pregnant with my son. I wound up gaining 30 pounds. 32 pounds technically because I got up to 330 pounds. But then losing that weight after my son was so easy because that was my first time giving birth to a child. Like that whole first month that I had my son, I didn't eat. My mother would have to remind me to eat. And it didn't bother me. Like I didn't really have an appetite. So losing that weight and going back to my beginning weight, it was nothing. So same situation with my daughter. I was the same exact weight, 298 pounds, maintaining that weight. But when I gave birth to her, I skyrocketed. I went all the way up to, by the time I had gave birth to my daughter, I was 378 pounds. And that is the largest I have ever been in my life. Prior to that, getting up to my pregnancy weight with my son was the largest I had ever been. But like I said, there was nothing to go back down. So I didn't really worry about that weight because it went as quick as it came. But with my daughter, oh my God, big back hyena. And it stuck. And I wasn't really working on myself because, as I've explained before, my daughter, she was born with trisomy 13, and she was relatively okay for having that genetic disorder because a lot of babies that's a death sentence for. But for her, she was mosaic, which means that it didn't mess up a lot of her DNA throughout her body. It was just in certain parts of her body. Where she had like little defects. So she was pretty okay. And the hospital kept her to just see if she could come home with me and that she wouldn't pass away. But while they was running all the tests that they needed to ensure that she'll be okay, she wound up catching COVID from one of the nurses. So I was just back and forth. Like, I remember when I got discharged, I was back at the hospital the next day and I had a C-section with both of my children. I didn't care. I wanted to be there with my baby. Like, if I can't have my daughter home, I'm going to be with her wherever she's at. So, yeah, that was like the largest I ever got. So, fast forward, my daughter wound up passing away. And I was just like, I didn't care about myself or nothing. But she passed away in February of 2022. And from when she passed, after she passed until maybe June, I just like blacked out. So I hadn't been to the doctor. I hadn't like, and usually if you know me, you know Nisha, I'll go to the doctor if my scalp itch too much. Like, I'm that person that I'm gonna go and see about it. I'm not going to wait on it and let it become something bigger. That's not me. I have way too many family members that has happened to, and I have lost them. Like, I had a really close aunt of mine, and she was morbidly obese, and she would not go to the hospital because of her embarrassment of her weight and stuff like that. Because I remember when I was a younger kid, I ended up going to a hospital for her. You know, my family took me to the hospital with them to go see her because I don't know what happened, if she had a stroke, if she had a heart attack back then. I don't remember what it was, but I know that she was not doing too well. And she was like in a bariatric part of the hospital. So, you know, now that I grew up and I understood, because like everything was way larger. Like they had a treadmill in her room. It was huge. The bed that she was in, it was huge. Like, so, yeah, excuse me. Gotta drink my protein shake. And it's gonna take me 2 hours to drink because I'll get to that later. But anyway, everything was huge. So she came out from that or whatever. And I guess, like, you know, she never did well with maintaining or losing the weight because she remained a larger person. She did lose a lot of weight at that point, but she was still heavy. But then the weight that she lost, she wound up putting it back on. And, you know, years later, I understand how that happens, right? But I'm not a person of embarrassment. Like, I can't allow embarrassment or how I feel to keep me from my health. Like, so eventually she wound up passing away in 2014, literally the year that I got pregnant and had my son. She actually passed away before I even got pregnant. She passed away the month before I got pregnant with my son. And we found her in her house. She had a massive heart attack. And it was just like, you know, we couldn't find any of the medicine that she would take. We couldn't find any no medical papers or anything. And then we come to find out that she just stopped going to the doctor. So she didn't know what was going on with herself. And I'm not that type of person. So it's just like, those instances in my family helped me. Because and that was another thing. Like, when it comes to health in my family, everybody's so secretive. Like, wow. If it's something going on with you, I can understand if you have like STDs and stuff like that, because yeah, get yourself together. Like, you shouldn't be out here wilding. But when it comes to other things, life happens. Like, we all make mistakes. We all do things. Like, the best thing is to have your family and you know have your support system and do that. Like, but no, my family, they weird. They keep everything to themselves. Don't tell nobody nothing. And then when they end up dead, it's just like, now we trying to figure out what happened. So anyway, that's not what I was gonna let happen. So once I came up out of my funk of, like I said, losing a child is gonna always be there. But once I came out of that darkness, and I'm gonna always describe it as that darkness because that's exactly what it was. When I came up out of that dark spot and I was able to like return back to the world, because I was out of it. Like, I didn't work, I didn't go to school, I didn't do anything. Like, I barely took care of my son. Like, I just was gone. I was a shell of myself. But once I like I don't even remember applying for the job that I had got. I just remember I started working. Like, that's how grief in your brain and things work. Like, it's just certain things that my brain, I can't remember. So it was that time when I started going back to work. I'm like, you know what? I want to work on me. I want to get myself together. I had actually got called for the apartment that I'm in now. It was like such a long process. But I'm like, I want to do whatever I got to do to get myself together. I went back to the doctor. I asked the doctor, like, hey, can you refer me for bariatric? And I wanted to go do the bariatric surgery back in 2022. I remember the first time that I spoke with the surgeon, that was July 19th, because that was literally the day that I was supposed to come. That was the day that I came and sat down and did the paperwork for my apartment. And I'm literally talking to the nurse on the phone, and I'm letting my husband do the paperwork, like talking to the lady at the office. So it was a lot, but I was like, I don't care. Like, I want to get better. I want to do better, and I want, I want to come out of this losing my daughter like on top. Like, I want to come out like, all right, that happened. We couldn't control that, but like everything else that we can control, like let it be within our control. So I started the program back then, but I never finished it because the diet that the doctor had gave me to stick to, like, hey, we want you on a high protein, low carb diet. I just started doing it myself. Like, and then I ended up losing a tremendous amount of weight. I went from 378 and I got down to my lowest weight of 245. I don't never remember being 245 pounds. Like, I'm not gonna lie, my whole life I do not remember ever hitting 245. It was always just like past that. Or maybe it's been so long, I don't remember. So, because like I said, for years, like almost about 2 decades, I maintained, well, not 2 decades, like maybe like for about 10 years, I maintained being 298 pounds. So when I got down to 245, I felt good. I looked good. I was just like, I don't, like, once I lost because they told me that they needed me to lose 30 or 50 pounds, I forgot. I ended up losing 80. And once I did that, I'm like, oh, you could just keep doing it on your own. I had my reservations about people who use surgery. I still do. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But I was just like, no, I don't need to do that. Like, I was very active. I was moving around. I lost a lot of weight. Once I lost the 50 pounds, the 80 pounds, 100 pounds, I'm like, oh, girl, you could do this. And like I said, I got all the way down to 245 pounds. And that was last year, 2024. I was my lowest weight I ever been. But then I had a fire in my apartment, and that kind of like offset a lot of things within me. Like, I'm a person that I'm a master level psychologist. I help people. At that time, I was a case manager in the shelter. I was like the advocate for like being resilient, right? But when I had the fire in my apartment, I realized that all these years, all these instances, all these trials that I've been through, I never really persevered through them. It's like I kind of just masked it and just like, you know what? I'm going to get past it and just like not deal with it. Me thinking that I'm dealing with it, I was not dealing with it. And when I had the fire, that was like the feather that broke the camel's back. Like, I went under such anxiety, like, that I've never, ever, never like before. Like, I've never been as anxious. I mean, even losing my daughter, I've never been that anxious, like, as I was when I had the fire. Like, I was, like, afraid of my own shadow. I couldn't go outside. I couldn't operate. I had to quit my job. It was just a lot. I remember I was on my way to work as a case manager, and I got to 125th Street because I would drive my son off to school, and then I'll jump on the train. So even though I lived at 149th Street station, like I lived near that station where I had to drive my son off to school, I ended up having to go get on the train at 3rd and 149. So by the time I got to, like, between getting to, because I forgot what train I was on. I think I was on I was on the 4 train. 4 or the 5 train I would take. And I was between 138th and 125th Street, and the train stopped in between those 2 stations, right? So it was in the tunnel. and I had the worst panic attack of my life. I had to get off the train. I mean, I had to get off. I was crying, like I couldn't get myself together. I had to call my husband. I couldn't breathe, like, and I had to end up taking an Uber home. I had to call my employer, like, I can't make it to work. I just had the worst panic attack trying to get to work, and I have to go home. I'm not okay. I can't make it into work or whatever. So that happened. Then I tried to go back to work. But in between then, I started drinking way more excessively. Like I used to smoke marijuana. That was another thing. And then recreationally, I would do ecstasy. So I'm thinking that me using all these substances and doing all this, like, oh, I'm maintaining and I'm okay and I'm fine. No, I was literally self-medicating and it wasn't doing me nothing good. So I ended up having to sit all the way down. But before that happened, I tried to go back to work because I wound up losing the other job. And then I started working as a social worker in the Manhattan Psychiatric Center. And then it's just like dealing with that stuff. Like, I'm always willing to work with that population, but it's just like with me not resolving the things that I had in me, just the pressure that the job put on me for certain things, and they were all the way raggedy. I'm gonna always say it. Working with New York State, is raggedy. Now, I worked as a temp through a temp company, but I still worked with the agency, right? So when it came to Manhattan Psychiatric Center, their systems are primitive. They don't have a database. They use this old system that is like putting glass back together, like shattered glass back together to use. It's very difficult, right? You have people that don't know what they're doing there. Can't really train you properly. It wasn't being trained properly. It was just a lot. And it's just like, you know what? Ended up having panic attacks there. So I was just like, okay. So I ended up leaving there. Something did happen with me and my director, but she is a lying racist bitch. And her name was Dina Spadassini, and I don't care. I'm gonna always say that. Like, she was a horrible individual. She was like a wolf in sheep's clothing. But anyway, I ended up I reached out to my doctor. It was so bad. One day, like, I was just breaking down, like, I could not catch myself, like, while I was, because I did skip a part when I had the fire, because I had the fire January 16th, 2024, last year. Me and my family had to move out of the apartment, because they didn't kick us out or anything, but we had to move out so that they could fix the damage, because there was more water damage than there was fire damage. The fire only messed up the stove and the microwave, because I have a microwave that's right over my stove. And that was it. And then they replaced my dishwasher as well. So those 3 appliances was replaced because of the fire. However, everything else in the apartment, they had to strip all the floors in the apartment, because of the amount of water that came from the damn sprinkler system. That ain't no sprinkler. I tell people, it was like somebody had a fucking fire hose through the where the sprinkler's supposed to come out, and it was gushing water, right? So the fire burned for about maybe 5 minutes. The water ran for about 30. So it was more water damage than it was fire damage, right? So we still had to leave so that they could gut the apartment. They literally cut like a big percentage, like the bottom of my walls all throughout the house. Cut all the walls, because that's, they wanted to make sure that there was no mold going to grow in that part of the wall because of the water. The water didn't get that high, but they still cut a large portion of the walls, right? So I had to go stay with my mom. Staying with my mom, that kind of piqued my anxiety. Excuse me. I'm sorry, I have a lot of gas after this surgery. But living with my mom, she lives in a very drug addicted building. Like, it's a lot of drug addicts in and out of the building. The walls are very thin. Like, there's no sense of silence. I got so used to my apartment. Like, it's very quiet. Like, even when I close the windows, like, they're like soundproof windows. I don't hear too much stuff going on outside unless I open my window. So, and it was just like being back in a setting that I didn't want to be in. Like, I fought so hard to get out of my mother's house. Like, I love my mother down to the ground, but I understand that family are who you're giving to. Like, you don't create those people. Like, you don't. So it's just like, it was just certain things that I wanted to get me and my son away from. And it was just like being back under that. It was just like, I never wanted to come back and be here. So with everything. Like I said, I started drinking more, smoking more. Like I'm at my mom's house. Even though I had quit my job, the first one, the case manager, because I thought I lost it, but I ended up quitting. That's a whole long story. I was told that I was fired, but the person who told me that I was fired didn't have the authority to fire me. And when I got a call back stating that, oh no, you're not fired, like, I was just like, well, I quit, like, pretty much type shit. So, I had money. It was right around tax time. I had money. I had my checks that, like, my last checks. I had just got paid, like, and I was budgeting my money really well. But then I wound up getting my tax refund, so money wasn't a problem for me at that point. So I'm drinking my ass off, like drinking. I'm drinking like 2-3 bottles a day of wine. That was my drink of choice. I had been stopped drinking. Oh, excuse me. I am so gassy from the. I can't keep saying that. From the surgery, but I was drinking a lot. I was not taking care of myself. I was eating whatever I wanted to eat, doing whatever I wanted to do. And eventually throughout last year, like with me not going to work, without me moving, being active how I'm used to being, because work keeps me active, like in the field I am in, like psychology and social services. I'm very active. Like you have to be active. So I wasn't doing none of that. I was just in the house, timid as hell. Like even when I moved back home, I was still very anxious because while I wanted to come back home so bad, because I was out of my apartment for 2 months, supposed to be 2 weeks, which I knew they was lying. I ended up being out, displaced for 2 months. And when I came back home, I was still like anxious as hell. Like even more anxious because now that I'm back home, I'm realizing I'm in the place where the fire started. So it was just a lot to go through. So I sat down. I wasn't doing much. I wasn't, last time I started gaining a little bit of weight, and then I was like, okay. My therapist told me, because I ended up getting a therapist, everything. I had to do medication management. I had to get on anxiety medicine to just help me. I wound up getting on Zoloft. At first, I was supposed to be on clonazepam just to help with the effects of getting on Zoloft, but they never cleared it. So I just went through all the struggles of getting on Zoloft and, having my brain rewired. That, and I was given hydroxyzine and propranolol, all to help with the anxiety. But the other two was as needed. I didn't really use them as much. Hydroxyzine would help me with my sleep, but then my body quickly grew up a tolerance towards it, so I stopped using that. I'm not into taking unnecessary pills. Propranolol, I never took that. I never took it. It was for performance, anxiety performance. I never took that because I was just like, I don't want to be one of them folks. Like, I'm sorry, I do not want to be one of them caring women. Call me what you want. Just taking mad medicine. Like, I didn't want to do that. So I took the Zoloft. I dealt with that, but I was home. Like I said, I started gaining a little bit of weight around June, July. I was still small. I was still like at my weight loss plan. I think I got up to like 255. I gained like 10 pounds. And I was like, okay. And I was maintaining that for a little bit. Started going back to the gym. Well, I started going to the gym to like maintain my weight because I'm like, okay, I'm not moving. I'm not doing anything. And I was maintaining it for a while. But then I ended up getting pregnant in August. I ended up getting pregnant at the beginning of August. And no, I'm wrong. At the end of July, because, the end of July was my last cycle. And then I ended up losing the baby September 1st. So with that kind of like catapulted me back into like a very bad depressive state. And I just started eating. Like, I was just like, once I became pregnant, I was just like, oh, I'm pregnant. I can eat whatever I want. Whatever I want, whatever I crave, I'm going to eat. Because I'm pregnant. So once that happened, then I got depressed once I lost the baby. And then I was just like, I was just and then the next month is October. That was my birthday, and I realized I had grew a significant amount of weight. I think I was like 280 something at that point by my birthday. And I'm like, yeah. But no, I'm wrong. I was more than that because I went to the doctor September 16th. Yeah, and I think I was 302 pounds. So I had gained a lot of weight. And by my birthday, I probably went up to like 312, 315. Now when I went back to the doctor, I was already 302. So I asked them again, like, hey, I want to consider bariatric surgery, because I'm not in the headspace. I don't really, and I'm not gonna lie, like, I don't have the motivation to go back and lose the weight like I did naturally before. Like, I don't want to do that. I just want to not go through this in my life, like lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight. I don't want to keep doing this, like, and it's not because I can't be disciplined. It's just like life be lifing, like, so I considered bariatric surgery again, and this time I stuck with it. Like, I stuck with the program. I did everything I was supposed to do. I did the classes, I did all the clearances, and yeah, by it was in February, the end of the February. I think it was February 27th. My appointment was. I went and I got weighed and stuff like that. And at that point, I was 352 pounds. And they like, you gained a lot of weight since you started the program. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Not saying that I wasn't sticking to the stuff that they were saying, like, hey, maintain your weight. Don't see. They didn't give me a diet at that point because they was doing the program a lot differently than they did 2 years prior. So they just said maintain your weight or lose weight. Like, they didn't give me what to stick to. So I'm just like, all right, whatever, I'll maintain it. But like I said, my birthday is October. November's my son's birthday. And then December's my daughter's birthday. And then my daughter passed away in February. So it's just like that time period, the holidays. You got Thanksgiving. It was my birthday. It's my son's birthday. We taking him out. We eating whatever we want. Then it's Thanksgiving. We do whatever we want. It's Christmas. This is my daughter's birthday. Like, even though she's not here, we still commemorate her in her life. So it's just like, baby was just eating. I was just eating. Like, I was eating. I was being depressed. I was doing whatever I wanted to do. And then, yeah, it was ghetto. But here we are. March comes, they give me my date, and they're like, okay, now I had an appointment March 5th, and they gave me my date. It was originally supposed to be March 31st, but they ended up calling me like the next week and was like, we gotta move your surgery up. And then they moved it to March 24th, so it was a week before I was originally scheduled to go. So when I went back to the doctor and they weighed me, and they're like, okay, you do have to come down some weight because we don't want your insurance to deny the surgery, which I think that was just a lie. I just think the doctor wanted me to lose weight just to show them that I was ready and I was, dedicated to it, because I had ended up getting because I had to weigh in again on March 19th. Because they was like, all right, come back in 2 weeks. We're going to weigh you again just to see if you lost the weight. Lose up to 10 to 15 pounds. I lost 13. They wanted me to start the high protein, low carb diet. So that's the 2 protein shakes and the 1 meal, following the plating method. And I ended up getting a letter from my insurance before I weighed in, stating like, hey, we approved your bariatric surgery or whatever. So I'm like, that wasn't for them. That was for y'all. But it was cool. Whatever I got to do. Cool. Let's do it. So I wound up, let me see, because I weighed in last week, and then, and they was like, it was 2 weeks, the 2 weeks before surgery, you have to do the high protein. It's not so much as losing weight purposes, it's just to shrink your liver, but it do help you lose weight. So with them pushing up my appointment date, I ended up having to really lock in on it and saying, okay, even though I'm not going to lie, I played around when it came to that 1 meal. I didn't really go by the plating method after a while. I did the plating method for like a week and a half. Then after I weighed in, like them last couple of days, I ate what I wanted. Because I'm like, I know I'm not going to be able to eat real food for a while. So like, I wanted to get my little cravings out the way. I had this real bad thing with nachos. I had this real bad thing with West Indian food. And fish, like seafood. So I got this out the way while still maintaining my weight. So the weight that I had gotten, I weighed and I got down to 339 pounds. And I wound up maintaining that, even though, because like, I'm eating kind of sloppy for my 1 meal. So was able to maintain that. When I went and did the surgery, everything went through smoothly. Everything was fine. There was no complications. They actually ended up fixing a hernia that I had. I didn't even know I had one. I'm not taking my nose. I had to take my jewelry out and I couldn't put it back in because my nail. So I went back to the same place. And the guy ended up sticking the same needle that they do to pierce it, which is a little bigger than this. So it kind of spread in my nose again. So now my nose is sore. But I was trying to move it around. But anyway. So the surgery went well. I came home the next day on the 25th. Like around 2:30 they discharged me. I came home. And I've been home trying to maintain. But it's hard because, being in the hospital, you have a bunch of people checking your vitals and stuff like that all the time. Like, I'm just a worry boy. It don't get me wrong, I have a lot of support at home. My husband is helping me out tremendously. My mom is there whenever I need her. She was in the hospital with me those 2 days. My husband was taking care of our kid at home. So, but anything I need, he's there. So I'm happy about that. But it's just like, I keep saying I need a hospital bed. Because getting in and out of my bed is very comfortable. I got a big old king size bed. However, I don't have any type of head leverage, so I can't quite lay flat. Like, I've been forced to sleep on my back lately, and I'm not a back sleeper. Like, I do not sleep in the supine position. But in the hospital, I slept on my back, but it's because the back of the bed raised, like, the top of the bed raised up, so it made it easier for me to sleep on my back because it's like more I'm like in a sitting position. And turning from side to side was a little bit easier because I could sleep on my side a little bit. As long as I take pain medicine, I could sleep on my side like how I want to. If I take like the pain medicine that they gave me before I go to sleep. But in the hospital it was like better because the hospital bed have them like them handles so I could like pull myself up and stuff. It's hard here because I don't have that. I just have a headboard. My husband helps me, but it's like when we're both sleeping and I just want to switch sides, it's difficult. And I have this one incision, the biggest incision that I have, it hurts really bad whenever I try to turn back to my left side. Even when I turn to my right side, but even when I turn to my left side, it hurts too. And I have an incision on my left side, but it does not bother me like at all. It's just the biggest incision hurts. And I literally lay on one of the incisions and it's fine because I have 5 incisions. Because like I said, they had to also repair a hernia that I did not even know I had. So, yeah. That's that. And now we're in Thursday. I'm not going to say that I wasn't able to take a shower before. I was just kind of scared to take a shower so soon. But I smell like hospital and antibiotics. Like every time I pee, I smell like antibiotics. Like I know all that stuff is still in my system. And I'm like, I don't even have a body smell. I just smell like medicine. Like I don't even stink. I just smell like hospital and meds. Excuse me. So I'm just like, okay, my cycle actually came down today, which I don't feel, which I'm glad for because I'm already in enough pain. But after having my daughter, like I have bad periods, so I'm thankful. Thank you, y'all. But yeah, now I'm here. I took my vitamins. I took my pain medicine because they gave me 2 different pain medicines. I took my vitamins. I had to go find some Flintstone chewables. My husband went and got me Women One a Day, but they're not chewables, and I chewed that pill yesterday and damn near died. Because it's not a chewable. So I chewed up a regular vitamin. Ooh, Jesus, never again. So I was able to go and find some Flintstone chewables, complete. And I went, it was the Dollar General, it was by my mom's house though, so I literally got on the bus and I found these. And they had like 3. I'm just now realizing something, but I don't know. I gotta look at the paper. Because, let me see. I know this don't have no type of aspirin in it. But it's by a beer company, and I know that's aspirin. But anyway, they had like 3 of these left. I bought all 3 because I don't got no time to be doing this. I can't be going back and forth. Back in the forth and in the order that I can't do that. So I bought all 3. My husband had already went and got most of my medicine that was ready at the pharmacy. There are some medicine that I don't have yet because it's not time for me to take them. Because some of my medicines start April 7th. And then some of them start April 14th. So a lot of medicine that I don't have to take right now. But altogether it's 10, including an injection for um blood clots. So I take these every 12 hours. So I take it, well, when they gave me the first dose, it was at 6 a.m. in the morning. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep up with that. So I did 6 p.m., 6 a.m., 6 p.m., back and forth. So they had gave these to me in the hospital. They like, we don't want you to wait for the pharmacy and hold them saying they may possibly have to order them or anything. We need you to have these right away. So they gave me the full 2-week dosage amount to go home with. So I had that before I left the hospital, and everything else my husband went and got for me. And yeah, the biggest thing that I'm dealing with now is the gas pains from when they inflated my stomach with that my abdomen with the gas so that they could do the surgery. That's what I'm gonna say. That and this big incision that I have. That's like the most painful things. But everything else I'm pretty okay. It's just not being able to move around and do what I'm used to doing. Like, but I don't got no choice because I really can't. I can't do stuff on my own. And it's like the gas is really bad because it's in my diaphragm. And then because it's reached my diaphragm, like it's like I feel it in my neck and my shoulders. I have pain in my neck and my shoulders. So it's very, very annoying. But outside of that, I'm happy that I was able to take a shower and clean my body. And I'm ecstatic for the future, but I'm not gonna lie. Like, part of me regrets doing the surgery because of the pain and all the afterness. And I'm just like, I really wish I would never did this. Because now it's like, my body has to readjust and reset. Well, adjust and, reset pretty much. Because it's like, okay, your body has to adjust to this new physiological factor of you having like 20% of stomach left. So it's like all the stuff that I have to do just to maintain my health. It's not a problem. It's just, I don't know. Sometimes I have regret in my head. But it's definitely not the easy way out at all. But since Monday, my lips is ashy. But since Monday, I've dropped over 7 pounds. So, yay. So, I just look forward to eating food again. Even if it's at a smaller portion. I want food. I'm looking forward to the purees at this point because I'm tired of water. I drink water all the time. These protein shakes, they're nasty. Not really nasty, it's just the taste is not becoming. Right? I want to taste other stuff. I'm physically not hungry. I don't feel hunger. I just feel like I have a stomach ache. And it doesn't feel like a hunger stomach ache. It's because I know I have the surgery. It's the pain from the surgery. So, yeah, like I'm not physically hungry. So I guess that's a good thing. But it's just remembering to, like, drink an ounce of liquid every 15 minutes. Just stay hydrated. Do the protein shakes. The protein shakes is like becoming very hard for me because I'm only supposed to drink 4 ounces with 1 scoop, and that was so thick. And the dietitian did tell me that if that consistency is too much for you to bear, you could do the 8 ounces of liquid, but it's going to take me 2 hours to drink this. So yeah, I'm going to be drinking this for the next 2 hours. And then I can't drink water and stuff while I'm drinking the protein. So for 2 hours, I don't get to drink anything else but that shit. So, yeah, yay. But I'm alive and I made it and I'm happy. But yeah, that's my little vlog for now. I want to vlog my progress and just my overall journey. Because I feel like the easiest part is over, the surgery. So everything moving forward, that's the hard part. Getting the surgery was the easiest part, I swear. Even though I felt like that was a hard part. So that says a lot. That was the easy part. Adjusting and doing what I have to do, and that's the hardest part. But I got this. And I'll be back with another vlog eventually. Because this is just day 3. Maybe I might vlog next week because I have to go see my doctor. Usually you don't see the doctor for like 2 weeks, but I don't know. Mine's going to see me next week. So I get to see him on April 2nd. And hopefully he advanced me to purees at that point because I want to taste something else. I ain't even going to hold you. I'm not hungry, but my taste buds is bored. I think that's what it is. My taste buds are bored. And I'm ready to eat something else. And I know when I go to purees, I already said I'm eating baby food. And I can eat baby food, so I'm going to eat baby food. And then when I get to the soul foods, I'm going to eat like scrambled eggs and like mashed potatoes and stuff like that. But I'm ready to taste something else. I'm tired of tasting this protein shake. I think that's why I smell like medicine, because I'm not putting nothing else in my body but medicine and protein. But one step at a time. So that's it for today. I'll be back next week, I guess, with another update.